So
Okay,
you have to be very keen on that. I
yeah, no
didn't know
kidding.
that. Oh.
No kidding. All right. Well, it looks like we're streaming again. I'm waving at the screen.
So you have to be very keen on that.
Yeah, no kidding. Streaming again. Okay, we're streaming again.
I wanted to start with
let me just see what happened with the old link, if that's now kaput. Okay, so the old one is just links to the video recording of the last one. So that's a separate link. Anyway, so be it. Whatever. No big deal. Point is, we're back to streaming. And shall I resume recording? Or was there more? Okay. Resuming recording in 3, 2, 1. So basically the big strategy that, that I'm proposing is, schedule out over, I don't know, we could do 2 or 3 of these sessions over the course of a single day. We could leverage Friday for that because or maybe do a different day so that we don't interrupt the block party and use the block party for planning it and also assessing it as we go. I think that might be the smarter strategy, right? But anyway, one way or another, block out the time so that we have like an hour for an interview, because then we can pause and record and pause and resume. It's not like we're pressed for time. Half an hour wouldn't be enough. An hour, one could argue that an hour is not enough for any one of these folks. But in any case, we interview them for an hour. Then we bring them all into the round table. So that way they all feel heard. You see the magic in that? See the beauty in that? They all feel heard and honored. They get to talk, and then they get to be part of a round table. And we find some efficient way of synthesizing. I think the good way to synthesize is each of the interviewers who spends time interviewing the half dozen to a dozen people, right? And the more, the better. We'll just keep recruiting new interviews. Who wouldn't want to be an interviewer? Who the hell wouldn't want to be an interviewer for one of these great interviews? All the questions will be mapped out in advance. The collective intelligence will do that. Like, for example, this Friday, in 4 days, when we meet on SRM, I say, let's go through the various topics within SRM. And for each of those topics, come up with the right questions. For mere reflection, it's what's the scope? What's the scope? What's the priority and why? Right? For marine cloud brightening, it's, all right, COP just happened. What do we do next? Right? Can you explain the basics of it in 3 minutes or less? Don't go into full details and give it to us real simple. Keep it simple, simple, simple. This is for a broader audience as well. What are the main issues you foresee, et cetera? Because this guy's a deep thinker, Professor Stephen Salter. For ICE 9/11, tell us about the extent to which you'd like to see this implemented, what's standing in your way, et cetera, et cetera. We map out all the questions so that it's all mapped out, and regardless of who does the interviewing, the questions are mapped out and they're made available in advance, so there's no surprises. And that way they can really get into their game in their interview. And then we just let them talk, right? With occasional guiding questions. But even the guiding questions are oriented towards, how do we do this and how do we do this now? We're out of time, enough blah, blah, blah. Let's go into action Jackson mode. How do we get this done? Right? Am I missing anything? All right. So we have a focused interview that in turn focuses them on the urgency, and the holistic. Then it's their own fractal from their own mind, the confines of their own mind, the bells, okay? From within the confines of their own mind, right? to a panel conversation that's moderated, right? And where we say, okay, what was the net of your interview? We just interviewed all of you in the last hour. That's powerful in and of itself. They all got to talk in parallel for the last hour. They all gave birth. The last thing they want to do is go get knocked up again. So they'll sit back and freaking listen for an hour, which needs to be, isn't it? It's kind of brilliant. I mean, I'm not like trying to, over puff it. But if I do say so, it's kind of brilliant. Everyone's all teed up at the same time. Everyone's ready to go. Right?
Exactly. And you have them all there in the one room then, and you get them to commit to a conversation after their interview. And the conversation will involve the other members of the the other interviewees or whatever. But the point is, we have to have a conversation prepared then for that after conversation. That's the vital conversation, is what I'm saying. What we need to do then is to hold them to their word. What we need to do to entice them into a conversation in the first place anyways is that every single one of them, each and every one of them, has had a small interview at some stage during the COP where they've expressed their dismay and disgust at what the whole process was and why they thought it was bad and what they've been there trying to advocate for, like such as Marine Cloud Brighton was mentioned, and then Tao was there, the usual suspects is what I'm saying. But they've voiced their opinions now, and they've said what they're disgusted about the whole process. We now have that. We just basically use what they said by enticing them into the interview by saying, look, we like what you said about such and such a thing after the COP and what you thought about the process and what you're advocating. Would you like to have an interview about it and talk about it some more? Because we're trying to gain more traction to get these ideas and solutions on the way. And the only way we can do it is, as you've been saying yourself, is for us to come together, because they've all seemed to be stressing that it's up to the people now, that they know now that their leaders aren't doing anything for them. So we hold them to this. We get them into the interview by enticing them in by their own words and complimenting them on their own words. We have the interview, all, as you said, simultaneously, and we have them in the one room afterwards, where we then hold them to their word, and all we asking them for is for them to encourage their viewers to join these conversations so that we can get these solutions formed and implemented. We hold them to the word to get the numbers, because that's what we're trying to do. We've built the base for that. We just need the numbers. And that is a plan. Let's fucking go for it, like.
Love it. Love
And
it.
importantly, it will be documented. So it's not just the one thing of, it can be reviewed. So that is also a very important point, I think.
Beautiful. Yeah. No. It's beautiful.
We should just make a short list here now, like while we're here, like, and just talk
Let's
talk
do
about
it.
the principal talkers in the COP at the moment and who were there, and by all means look at their videos that are on YouTube, which I've looked at a number of them now already, and I swear to God, it's disheartening to look at them, because they're inside there giving their speeches to fucking empty rooms with the only people in the room are their own guests that they invited. They're talking to themselves.
No. So see, they're frustrated, and so for
Yeah.
them to now be interviewed, right? And
Exactly.
it can be called, the Darth Vader series, whatever. I don't care. It can be COP continues, but whatever. So everyone think about what name to give it, what identity to give this thing, right? Is it
COP
Cambrian?
concrete.
Huh?
COP concrete.
COP concrete. Okay. COP concrete.
I would say COP continued anyway, because it shouldn't be left rest, in other words. So COP continued. COP 26 continued.
#1.
Because the idea of it is we shouldn't let it rest. We shouldn't let it be wait till next year for another load of shite to be shoved down our throats. We should just say, no, we've had enough. This is the year where COP26 fucking stops now, and we cop the fuck on. Sorry no for the language, but this is the way it is. We either cop the fuck on or we're all fucked anyway. So it's time to cop on. And why do a bunch of leaders who for 26 years took basically 26 years to come to actually agreeing on having a conversation about reducing coal, and they're celebrating that fucking thing, like they're celebrating that decision, like so they're a waste of space and they're not working for our interests, so we have no other choice but to work for our own interests and to fucking do this ourselves. So it's as simple as that. We have no other choice but to not let this rest. COP26 continues. It's as simple as that. We can't let it rest. We haven't time to be letting it rest, and we have no point leaving it rest in the hands of people who are not working for us. It's as simple as that.
All right, here's what I say. We do exactly as James said. The opener goes like this. COP26 continues with the Darth Vader series, right? You know, episode 4, A New Hope, right? You know, something like that. And we say, you know, something, I don't know, something provocative, because the thing is, let's leverage the position that we occupy, which is that we are the Darth Vader of COP26. We occupied that spot. And, oh, hey.
Which color cable may I have, please?
Blue, please.
Thank you.
Love you, sweetie. Right. We are the Darth. We occupy that position. In this one article on iNews, let me just share it real quick, because this is very significant, actually. This is very significant. This is probably the top quoted article. I mean, if you just Google Darth Vader COP26, it's crazy. It's all over, and we're all over social media in Germany, Finland. So check it out. COP26. Performer dressed as Darth Vader and singing 80 songs with climate lyrics is a surprise summit hit. I'll put the article in the chat. An American, there's one of many pictures. An American dressed as Darth Vader and performing 80s pop classics adapted for climate change has emerged as the runaway success of COP26. Okay. And I talk about Professor Stephen Salter. They mentioned Sir David King, former UK government chief scientist who supports marine cloud brightening. And I talk about Professor Stephen Salter, who they interview. The man who invented marine cloud brightening, Professor Stephen Salter, is a fan. Jamin Shively is doing more for species survival than anyone else at COP26. Okay. I rest my case. We've totally got this, right? So we're in a very strong position to host the Darth Vader series. COP26 continues with the Darth Vader series, episode 4 or episode 1 or whatever, right? So let's be very thoughtful about which episode. Let's say it's episode 1, keep it simple. Episode 1, right? Introducing the taxonomy of topics for conversation. Take your pick, make a mix, right?
Episode 1, The Empire Strikes Out.
Empire Strikes Out. Yeah, episode 1. Nice. I like it. Episode 1. The Empire Strikes Out.
Love that.
Empire, episode 1. Yeah, we just struck, the Empire just struck out at COP26. So we're taking over. We are the rebel base, right? And what could be sexier than being a rebel base? We're the rebel base, right? And what we're doing is we're using collective intelligence and evolving it towards a collective superintelligence rooted in the new paradigm, benevolent collective intelligence. And, but see, even this, listen to this, even this whole thing about episode 1 and all that, sequentially, here's what happens. You're Yatao. You show up at the appointed time, 2:00 in the afternoon Eastern. You're like, hey, what's up? Hey, good to see you. All right. Yeah, first we're going to interview you. Okay, great. Here's the questions. We've already gone back and forth over email with the questions. Let's do it. Ready? Great. And then afterwards, we're going to have a roundtable. And here's what's up with the roundtable. You've also been emailed that. First hour interview, second hour roundtable. Everything meticulously prepared by all of us. Okay. Then what happens? Then the final half hour, we unveil the whole of it. We say, look, we just interviewed all of you on the topic of, SRM, let's say. There's another big topic on cooling the planet. In fact, I think we're boiling it down to even fewer. So let's just keep it real simple. We've got SRM, we've got cooling the planet, which can include all the other topic areas. Maybe even planting trees, why not? Shit, and plant-based foods, yep. We'll have a separate one on marine cloud brightening, and then we'll say, hey, if you want to host your own mega topic, please do. Yay, if you want to host your own. So I'm going to put dots around Mir and dots around ICE 911. But we'll say, listen, all of you, the Mir folks and the ICE, you're all invited to the SRM program, and some of you are invited to marine cloud brightening. Let Stephen Salter come up with his wish list, and we'll just invite everybody. Who do you want there? So marine cloud brightening, SRM, plant-based foods, planting trees, cooling the planet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely 5 for sure. Food healers, that's 6. The big goal of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, that's 7. Collective intelligence, that's 8. Should leave it at that. Collective intelligence, food healers. The big goal of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. That sound good? The big goal of, okay. Oh, I thought it was screen sharing. I'm so sorry. If that ever happens, just yell at me, throw something at me. Okay. So these are the definite marine cloud brightening, SRM, plant-based foods, planting trees, cooling the planet. The big goal of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. Food healers, collective intelligence, and that's it. Those are the big 8, right? So what we could do is literally take, here's how we do it. Check this out. So we schedule the SRM, we schedule 3 hours of that, right? Interview, roundtable discussion, and then and then, COP26 continues. Right. So let's say we do that for 3 hours of SRM, right? Not during the block party, but its own 3 hours. Immediately after that, we have marine cloud brightening, right? Because of all the participants in SRM, some of them will continue on to the marine cloud brightening portion, and others will exit, either because they don't like marine cloud brightening or whatever, or they have something else to do. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, we bring in some fresh new blood from the outside into the conversation as well. But this way, we kind of optimize for this overlap. These people get scheduled for one, I don't know, maybe that's too much to have one big 6-hour marathon. Maybe it's better just to chunk them out. Probably better to chunk them out. Okay. So.
Yeah, 6 hours is ridiculous because, like Professor Salter wouldn't last 3 of them anyway, like alone.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay, so keep those separate. Keep it separate, no problem. Anyway, but so we have this 3-hour process for. Wait a second, what's going on? There you go. This 3-hour process for SRM, a similar one here. That's it. Interview, roundtable, and then COP26 continues. The COP26 continues. What is that? It's us selling them on coming together as part of the big eight big conversations. I always do conversations as blue circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the big 8, and we'll call this the wheel of putting out the fucking fire. If James were to name it, that's what it would be. This is the wheel of putting out the fucking fire. The wheel of POF, putting out the fucking fire, aka the boop reduction program. Right? We say, look, here it is. And, what are the big 8? Well, at the top, we've got SRM, MCB, and cooling the planet. Okay, let's start with those. We have, cooling the planet. SRM, MCB, right? Okay. What's the next closest related thing? Plant-based foods and planting trees. Food healers and planting trees. Everyone will love the planting trees. We should probably have decarbonization in here. So let's have it. That way we invite in the 350s, the drawdowns, we invite all those folks in. They're all happy. They're at the table. So, collective intelligence is obvious. That's what we're doing. So we don't really need to have a next section on that. So that just leaves the big goal of saving healing. Yeah, that's right. We need the big goal. The big goal. And if they say, well, what's collective intelligence? It's all this. And then, of course, this is then going to start to expand out. When 100 people show up to the Marine Cloud Brightening meeting, we're going to have then the sub meetings like we mapped out up here. Right. Specifically. All under Marine Cloud Brightening: technology, marketing and PR, finance, legal, ethics, and politics. Boom. There's 6 big subtopics under just Marine Cloud Brightening. Right? Boom. Under technology, right? That's going to branch out into here, and here. In other words, what's going to happen is, do you see how out of this whole wheel, this is one section that's just going to take off, right? This is just going to explode, right? And meanwhile, all the other SRM solutions are going to gather around here, and this will basically be what we might call, the Me Too crowd. Why? Because Marine Cloud Brightening is going to be getting all the attention, and rightfully so, because it's the only real solution that we can implement in time, within the time frame that we need. We're not going to get 20% of all the pasture land in the world covered with mirrors. Sorry, Charlie. But we can make 1,000 boats. Anyway. So that'll be the Me Too for cooling the planet, Plant-based foods, oh my goodness. Silash will come with just a whole bunch of people. Similarly with food healers. Similarly with planting trees. Here again, we invite the 350s and Drawdown and all those folks. And here we'll have a really nice mix for the big picture, big goal of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. And then, similarly, we'll get a good mix for cooling the planet, because this is the big COP, this is COP26 continues right here, where we say, something to the effect of, the real goal, right? Decarbonization is not the goal. Cooling the planet and saving life on Earth is the goal. Get it right, kind of thing. You with me? Here, let me stop screen sharing because I've shared quite a bit. But it feels to me like we're finally boiling it down to what do we need to do to save, heal, and transform life on Earth. Because the big goal is a catch-all for all the environmentalists and everything who say, well, I'm all about saving the wetlands. Okay, come here. Talk about I'm all about saving the whales. Come here. Saving, healing, and transforming, because we have to do it holistically, especially, everybody knows it. There's not a single species you can say, oh, no, the koala are there. No, the koala are getting roasted alive by the exponentially overheating planet. We got to cool the planet. That's how you save the koala, by cooling the damn planet. And decarbonization and planting trees and the more holistic. So again, the topics are starting with cooling the planet. That's where that's the on-ramp from the off-ramp of COP26. You see what I'm saying? That's all clear, right? That's the on-ramp from the off-ramp of COP26. So cooling the planet, SRM, Marine Cloud Brightening. You see how the funnel goes from the general to the specific. It's perfect. Cooling the planet, SRM, Marine Cloud Brightening. Plant-based foods, food healers. I'm tempted to combine those two.
I'll be back there 1 second, Jim, and they're just heading off there.
Okay.
See you later.
Is anyone saying good night?
Yeah.
Good night, son.
Bye, see you
Good night,
later.
lads. Good night, Marco.
Great.
Adios, son.
All right.
Is that Eddie saying goodnight?
Yep.
Yeah.
All
They
right,
got out
Eddie.
the door. They got out the door.
Have a great night, Eddie. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, well, we're down to 7, or we have room for an 8th if we need. Why not? Right? 8's a good number. I think 8's a great number, actually. So we have room for one more is the bottom line. So in fact, we could just have one which is you know, saving and healing the biosphere generally, you know, beyond plant-based foods, there's other things to do. So that becomes the me too. That becomes the me too, is saving and healing the biosphere, right? Beyond plant-based foods, which both acknowledges plant-based foods as the main solution, and then properly says, here's where we talk about everything else, right?
Or saving the creation.
You know what? I think just no. In fact, let's not diminish it. Let's just say saving and heal. I'll just say projects for saving and healing the biosphere. No, because nobody needs to be convinced of the need for saving and healing the biosphere, right? But the unspoken subtext to that is, and I'll just write it as such here. I'll just screen share here what I'm doing in my beautiful handwriting that every child should be taught to write like I do. So projects for saving and healing for the biosphere, and then the unspoken subtext is beyond SRM and food healers, right? That's the unspoken subtext. Unspoken. We don't say it to the people we're interviewing, because that diminishes projects for saving and healing the biosphere. We just say, oh, by the way, right? 2 of the big ones are cooling the planet and actually, yeah, it's here's the thing. Let me just highlight in red because it's an appropriate color. Cooling the planet, SRM, and marine cloud brightening, right? That's one big sector. This one here is one big sector about saving and healing the biosphere. See, I even forgot about planting trees over here. Let me add this to the list here. Beyond SRM, food healers, and planting trees, which is kind of its own biggie. If you don't give them that, then they'll say that we don't care about trees, which A, is not true, and B, let's just, why fight them? Let's join them, right? Giving them their space. So, but the 3 of those together, you got cooling the planet, you got saving the biosphere, right? Again, the unspoken opener here is other. But you see how that diminishes it. So it'll be obvious. Projects for saving and healing the biosphere, not elsewhere classified. And then, decarbonization is kind of its own, in a way, let's just kind of leave it as its own thing, right? It's becoming isolated, and that's a good thing, right? And then, of course, you have the big overarching goal: saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, right? Here's where we talk about becoming a caretaker species and all that. So we end up with 4 big sectors. 4 big sectors: decarbonization, the big goal, cooling the planet, and saving and healing the biosphere. Eight conversations, 8 roundtables, 8 different roundtables, each preceded by an hour of interviews. And the roundtables will probably go for more than an hour. So be it. Let them. We record it all. And, among other things, we map out, okay, where do we want to go from here in terms of like the technology and this and that, and, this other topic and the ethics. Let's talk about that. Let's invite these people. Let's get it all. Let's get it on the table. Let's get it on the record. Right. Anyway, so back to the sequence. For each of these, we do, again, 1 hour of interview, an hour of roundtable. That'll probably spill to an hour and a half or 2 or whatever. And at the end, we say, listen, this is all part of COP26 continues. Here's the bigger picture. And we call it the Wheel of POF, the ultimate BOOP reduction program. And these are the 8 big sectors, which group into 4 big grouping areas, right? You got cooling the planet, you got decarbonization. Those are 2 separate things. They're just like on opposite sides. Don't you love it? Anyway, they're essential. They pull in opposite directions. If you decarbonize as your next step, we overheat the planet even faster. This is the last thing we need, right? We need that like another hole in the head. So decarbonization versus cooling the planet, take your pick. And the big goal, let's put it all in perspective. It's saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, of which cooling the planet is, arguably the most urgent thing. But then we also have saving and healing the biosphere, plant-based foods and food healers, planting trees. Those sort of, now these become breakouts from the mothership, which is saving and healing the biosphere. I think now we've put it in the proper context. This becomes a general. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. And then you have your 2 main ways of doing that. That's cool. So if we were to map this out as a taxonomy, are y'all getting bored? Am I like overdoing this, or how's everybody feeling? Passing the talking feather.
I have.
Oh no, we're
popcorn.
about to lose Freed. No, Freed, stay. This is getting good. I'm about to map it out as a taxonomy. Go ahead, Marco.
I have popcorn. I'm fine.
Okay, well, thanks for turning off your mic while you crunch and cover your beard with popcorn dust. All right. So all right. So let's carry on.
Sorry
Anyway.
about that, Jim. And I had to go pour water over Stephanie's windscreen. It was all frozen over.
Oh goodness. Okay, is that all good? All taken care of?
Yeah, all good there now. I just poured out a cup of tea. Carry on.
Okay. I didn't know Stephanie was leaving too. I thought it was just Eddie. So please
No,
give me.
she's fine as well. Yeah, she's dropping him
Okay.
home. Isn't she?
Oh, and then she'll be back, I guess. Okay. All right. Very good.
No,
Anyway.
she's after her models. After her models.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll send her a message then. Anyway. So the and Freed. Okay, Freed. We're letting you off the hook. No more pressure. I was trying to keep you with some extra humor and all that. Anyway, feel free to keep it playing as you do other things or whatever you need to do. All right. So how about the rest of you? Is everybody else good? Are we on a roll here, or how are people feeling? I mean, it's time to freaking do it. Plan it, map it out, get it populated. Thank you. Thanks, Joel. Thank you. All right. I'm not hearing any resistance, so I'll just keep going. Basically, what I'm seeing here, this now maps into a really cool kind of, so we have, the big goal of saving, healing. This is what we call the shit, and this is part of the humor of the whole thing, right? It's saving, healing, and intentionally transforming life on Earth. And this in turn breaks out into cooling the planet, saving and healing the biosphere, and decarbonization. You know, you got your own category. Are you happy now? Kind of thing, right? Meanwhile, while decarbonization is getting happy, cooling then boils down to SRM as its main thing. Now, it also maps to, this is kind of cool, planting trees. It also maps to decarbonization, in that the more you decarbonize, the slower you cool, or the faster you heat up. Isn't that nice? That's why it's like a red link, like careful, right? But it's a link nonetheless. We've got planting trees. We've got plant-based, and I love the alliteration here, from planting trees to plant-based. And of course, we all know the important linkage between cooling the planet and plant-based foods. As Dr. Sailesh Rao has indicated, 87% of global warming caused by animal agriculture. So hence that linkage right there, 87%. So you got plant-based foods and food healers. Look at all the linkages. And then, you know, finally, decarbonization gets a new best friend in plant-based foods because of this reason. It's animal agriculture that's creating all the carbon, not even emissions. So what perfect connectivity? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're missing one. Are we missing one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're missing one. Cooling SR. Oh yeah, cooling SRM, which then leads straight to marine cloud brightening. Ready to go. Let's do it. Let's quit screwing around. Right? A clear winner has emerged, kind of thing. And there's our big 8 right there. That's our map. That's our map.
Well, the magic number 9 down below the whole lot of them, which is linked to the whole lot of them then as well, is collective intelligence.
Yeah, that's the one I was kind of on the fence about. But here's the cool thing. You know, for whatever reason, that hasn't like resonated with people, where it's like, yeah, collective intelligence. Marine cloud brightening resonates with people.
Yeah.
So number one, you know, I think people maybe feel like, am I intelligent enough? What is this, an IQ test? I don't want to fucking pull down my pants in public and then everyone sees that I'm deficient. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I do know what you mean with that, because anytime I mention it to anyone around here, the first answer I get off everyone is, "Oh, I wouldn't be smart enough for that at all."
Exactly. And so I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot by marketing this as collective intelligence. So instead, let's very simply, and by the way, in 22 minutes, I need to go because I've got another meeting. So I should probably go even a few minutes before that. So I'm probably good for another 15 minutes or so. But yeah, I would simply, you know, during the final third portion of our meetings with these, you know, various experts and whatnot, the final third after interview and roundtable is we present them with this map and we say, listen, here's the big goal. We probably take off the term shit so we don't scare people away. Here, let me go back to screen sharing so you see what I'm talking about here. But we lead with the big goal of saving, you know, we just talk about it. We don't put in the acronym. We just saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. And we say this really breaks down into 3 logical parts. Decarbonization, everyone's going to think emissions reduction. But then where do we take them? Plant-based, and the magical number 87. You want emissions reduction? We got it. 87% of it is right here. Look no further. Right? That's huge. Okay. That's huge right there. So we got decarbonization. We've got cooling the planet, which is a separate topic. No, I thought it's the same, doesn't it? No, it's different. And it's almost adversarial practically with decarbonization. You know, here we go. Fossil fuel. Okay, here's the key. We say, listen, you want to decarbonize? This is the way. Do that now, no problem, right? Because those don't include a lot of particulates. But for fossil fuel, the fossil fuel part, wait, literally wait. And that's going to be very controversial. So this, you know, we kind of don't even go there. Why go there? Let's just focus on decarbonization, bring everybody. And, you know, like a Soviet Politburo meeting back in 1975, everyone just kind of claps when people say, oh, we can, you know, I mean, in the end, no one's going to turn off the diesel trucks or the coal burning power plants anytime soon. So it's kind of an exercise in, I don't think we need to be afraid of it. I don't think we need to ask them to wait. I think they're going to find their own reasons to wait before decarbonize, you know, before, you know.
Well, in fact, both India and China last minute after they had the deal hammered out for COP, they last minute both managed to wrangle a change from eliminating coal to downsizing coal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you're correct there that there'll be enough coal-fired plants going that we won't have to worry about losing the
Yeah, and more to the point, yeah, exactly. There'll be enough coal burning power plants going under their own steam that we won't need to cheer them on, because cheering them on will probably make us deeply unpopular. So bottom line, we've got the big goal. We got decarbonization, cooling the planet, and saving, healing the biosphere. And we just say they're all related. We don't have to even go into we can even be hush hush about the red line effect. Not hush hush, but we certainly don't have to emphasize it. And then we've got saving and healing the biosphere. Everyone will cheer that on. Planting trees has to be there. Plant-based has to be there. It's beautiful. And then cooling, we get specific and even more specific. You want to cool the planet? You know, there's 2 ways to do it, but even the decarbonization route, that's one way to cool the planet. But number 1, how are you going to do it? Number 2, careful about the dirtiest emissions because they're keeping us alive. Anyway, those are the big 8.
Well, instead of collective intelligence being on that list, or, you know, as you said, the words aren't the key, they're not the right words maybe. What about just putting community down below at the end of it, like that, you know, that resonates with everybody, like, and community can expand to a large community as well as a small community. Like,
here's the thing. I think the big goal, the transforming of life on Earth, that involves community. I think that's another one of those sensitive words. I don't want to rub it in people like, oh God, they're going to ask me to sign up to be part of this community and pay $25 a month. And they're going to send me 100 emails a month, and they're going to try to get me to volunteer for. No. Let's just say, listen, here's what we're doing. But all of this gets presented in person, right? After we first interviewed them, roundtable them, then they're all happy. And then we say, listen, This is part of something bigger, because each one of those roundtables will be on exactly one of these 8.
Yeah.
One of these 8, each one of them. So you can say, listen, you see how we spent the last 3 hours together doing this whole big process, starting with your interview and then roundtable. This is welcome to the 3rd phase. This is short and sweet. The bottom line is here, you are here, right? You are here. And, let's say it's this one, SRM. You are here. One of the most strategic pieces on the board is the SRM meeting. Because and for each of these meetings, we have an agenda, a specific agenda. For the SRM one, our agenda is, what is our agenda? I'd say United Front. Our job is to get the world thinking about SRM. Now,
Yeah.
if
Our
you,
agenda is a united front and for the research and development of all, so that the most prominent comes to the fore.
exactly. So, and listen, just like we'll have a whole meeting on a whole thing on SRM, you pick your favorite solution and add it to the map. That's the whole idea. This is just a starting point, right? That covers the main bases. The only thing that's really missing is fossil fuels reduction. That's kind of begging to be there. But hey, you know what? That fits quite nicely within decarbonization. Thank you very much. So you're fine. Talk about it there. Join the decarbonization meeting. We'd love to have you. So it's 8.
Fossil fuel reduction is covered with the plant-based 87% anyway. You know what I mean? That's going to if you go that direction, you're reducing the fossil fuel usage anyway. So
not so much the fossil fuel usage. What you're doing is reducing the carbon, right? You're reducing emissions of carbon, but reducing carbon emissions is different from reducing fossil fuels, right?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. I mean, they're largely overlapping, but they're mostly not overlapping, apparently, because if 80% of greenhouse gases are caused by animal agriculture, and animal agriculture only uses, I don't know, maybe 15% of all fossil fuels, if even that, probably closer to 10%, right? Probably closer to 10%. So, but anyway, it's somewhere in that range. It's certainly not over 20%. So the bottom line is animal agriculture is the lion's share of greenhouse gas emissions, and therefore cumulative concentration, right? It's the lion's share. So fossil fuels is relatively minimal.
I would have understood it as being because of the use of fossil fuels and chemicals and everything else, and the production of all those and everything else all goes into the production of animal farming and
yeah. Anyway, we'll leave these conversations for the roundtable meetings, right?
Yeah.
But basically, we let everyone talk about whatever they want to. Let them talk about it. Whoever comes to the decarbonization meeting, and there'll be lots of people we can invite to that. Whether they want to talk about fossil fuels or whatever, or even plant-based. If we get a couple of renegades that are really talking plant-based, and they bring that to the decarbonization meeting, I'm not going to kick them out. In fact, let's invite Dr. Silas Rao. We'll invite him to both. Bingo. See? You want to decarbonize? Meet Dr. Silas Rao. He's got the solution for 87% of your decarbonization goal, right?
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Marco, you need to wash 100 greasy dishes before you go to bed. The good news is 87 of them are already loaded in this machine, and all you have to do is press start. The rest of the 13 you have to wash by hand. I think you'll press the start button. We got 87% of our
Yeah.
problem solved, right?
Yes.
By going plant-based. So that's it. So, all right. So we're going to have an awesome decarbonization meeting that's going to spill into plant-based. Let's kind of draw the boundary here. For me, this is just super valuable. And I have to go in like less than 10 minutes, just FYI. But I'm still going strong. All right. Then we got plant-based, which kind of interfaces very nicely with the rest of the decarbonization thing. In fact, it overlaps right here with Dr. Rao. Look at that. So that's the overlap.
It also overlaps with the saving healing biosphere, planting trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the plant-based. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, James. So the plant-based overlaps here, and it clears the way to plant, not clears the way, but it creates a context for planting trees.
Yeah.
And planting trees then also dips in here and says, hey, the best way to make this happen is to also support plant-based, and then of course the saving and healing. So plant-based has emerged as the centerpiece, even though in terms of the hierarchical taxonomy, it doesn't appear that way, right? Because we don't want to oversell it or make it look like we're a bunch of crazy vegans. Right?
Exactly. Like, it's there in the background, and then all of a sudden it comes to be the centerpiece.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, bottom line, I'm not vegan, and it's not an issue for me if you are.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not going to push it in. What this says is we're not pushing it in your face.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, like, I love the concept of like everybody being able to be diverse and speak on the concerns and the rationale for it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm like, I don't have any issue with anyone's choices. I just have an issue if we try to force everyone to have the same choices.
No, and like I made clear earlier, that ain't happening here in the compassionate conversations, because no one is put on the spot, and no one is put under pressure to believe anything or anything like that. And and if anyone violates any of these rules, well, it's recorded, and then we get to review it. And if somebody needs to be worked with, shall we say, we make plans to work with them, right?
Yeah, and I was earlier, I did want to say I appreciated the concept, but then you did say, some people could be banned, which I get, at a certain level. But to me, if we're really being compassionate and we're really understanding that everyone is wherever they are, I still think there should never be a like, there's no way in hell you could ever come back kind of ban.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I actually agree with you.
Because people have the opportunity to grow, and just because they were immature and not understanding before doesn't mean they couldn't have turned a new leaf and are at a whole different place now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
We're going to be
we
talking about lots of passionate conversations, and people do get carried away in the passion of the moment and the heat of the conversation. And everybody's entitled to a breathing space and maybe a timeout room, and somebody that will go and have a cooler, so to speak, talk them down or see what the problem is. And if they're not willing to be reasonable, then you have no other choice but to eject them. But give everybody every chance. Like.
I'm gonna grab some food. I'll be right up. I'll be right
Okay.
up.
Well, not necessarily even like, maybe bans are necessary to some extent, because, people really can be in a really negative space and really immature or really evil seeming, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be like that for all eternity.
Exactly.
And maybe like some sort of like regulatory checking in with the people who have so-called been banned,
well,
to see if
we have
shifted.
we have dealt with it before, and there's I think less, I'm trying to think of the instances, less than a handful of people that have actually been banned. And we had one come back, got banned like last August, not this year, August of 2020 or September, August or September, and showed up, a couple months ago. And we just, gave him a chance. He behaved and apologized for what he did before, and we let him stay.
Yeah, yeah. There's no
Sure.
one saying ban someone for life anyway. What I said was if they're going to be totally unreasonable on the day, then they'll have to be ejected on the day. Like they can
Yeah,
come back again and plead their case afterwards, or not plead their case. That's probably the wrong wording. But
like
come back and talk to somebody afterwards, and come to some reasonable term is what I'm saying. Like.
Yeah, no, I
like
I
like the
I
guy
completely
we
accept that. It's just I
uh,
know there's a lot of organizations that claim to be all about love and acceptance and coming together, but then you ban people because they disagreed with you. And
no,
it's
No,
no, that
no.
doesn't
I would
happen.
only say like if somebody's been downright rude to another person or abusive to another person, that can't be tolerated. Then and it's only going to upset everybody in the room at the time. So you'd have to take them out of the room to calm them down and see if you can talk them down that way. If they're still going to be unreasonable, then eject them on the day and give them a chance to come back another day and maybe cool down and see what the story is then. I think everybody has a bad day. You're right about that. And everybody can get very passionate about a subject that they're passionate about, and they can get carried away. And also, we're talking about multicultural societies here in these conversations. And one thing, like I could say something in my terminology might be offensive to somebody else, whereas I don't be meaning to be offensive or something like that. We have
exactly.
we have to get used to each other as well in these things. So something that could be taken of offence mightn't have been given as an offence at all in the first place. So we have to learn to understand these differences as well about each other. And that's all going to be part of growing together, really. Because if we want to cooperate in this way online then we have to learn to do it, like, and respect each other's differences as well as, each other's, gifts. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I totally
definitely.
agree with that.
I wouldn't agree with banning anyone for life. I would just agree with, not having anyone being disrespectful to others. All we're asking for really is here is for people to come in and have respect to the other people that are there, and that's a simple rule, really. Like, have respect for other people there, like, and don't do to others what you would have them do to you. Like, you know what I mean?
But then there's always the people that have to push it, like the guy that was here during food healers and said, "Oh, I have the answer to solve world hunger. We just have to. I can solve two problems at once: world hunger and overpopulation." He said, "We just have to legalize cannibalism." He was deliberately, antagonizing everyone.
The Caesar.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, Caesar got he was like I got Caesar's sense of humor, and I called him out at that time. Like, I said, I can see what you're doing, man. You're winding these people up, and you're having a crack. You know what I mean? But even though you're only thinking it's a bit of fun, I said you're actually winding people up and think they think you're serious. So, either give it over, or you just give it, forget about it, like, and leave, like, you know what I mean? Because you're pissing people off. But he was a bit, you know, he's a bit of a joker.
Yeah, definitely. Some people use satirical humor and other people take it seriously. And then some people are dead serious and people take it as satirical humor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but Cesar had his own agenda anyway. He was there to try and promote his own thing. And, you know, he's always welcome back anyway. He was here only recently, wasn't he?
not not that I'm aware of.
I probably, when was it, a couple of months ago? And he was here when I popped on. Jamin, Caesar.
Sorry about the delay there. I was responding to an email that I had to respond to, but basically, yeah, I seem to recall seeing him a few months ago. But anyway, I gotta go. Love you all. Stopping the
Oh, that's
recording.
It's 8 o'clock already. Holy cow!
Carry on, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks.
All right, Jim. See you later, man.
Just saving the chat. Yeah, I've got a meeting. I've got a meeting that'll probably go for like an hour or so, and then after that, it'll probably be dinner time. All right. See you all soon. Much love. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care.
You too. Thanks. Great to see you, everybody. Great work today.
Great to see you too.
Really
Thank
great work
you.
today.
Sorry,
I
I
mean, now we've
passed
got
out
it.
at some point. So
Mhm. But
pretty
we've
much
got a
around the
plan
time
for.
James and them popped in, I passed out.
All right. See you all soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now. Marco, I'll just assign you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I've got to see, it's already 8 o'clock. That means it's too late for me to do. Okay, I'll deal with it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, do we still doing the live stream?
I think he said he was gonna stop that.
Actually, it's still going. But the other thing is the first live stream, when it canceled us due to the policy violation, it then the video added into this one,
What?
but they took the chat. Damn it.
What do you mean they took the chat?
It's gone. Everything during that first, up until that violation, the where we had several people in the chat and I was interacting constantly, it's all gone
Wait, when was that? That was today, or that
Yeah.
was from before?
today.
Oh, they did a violation today?
Yep.
Was that from the Pink Panther thing?
No, it was for he showed a short excerpt from the movie about Pele's life.
Oh, then I must have passed out. Or that might have been when I was on the phone and he started the recording before I came back.
Oh, I gotta make a decision here. It's not gonna be worth it. I'm not gonna have enough time for that. I have to go drive my daughter to work.
I'd love to help you out, Marco, but I'm off the bed down home, and it's just
Yeah.
nearly 1:05 here.
I'm glad you were here for as long as you were.
Yeah, sorry I passed out on y'all. I'm like, oh, James brought people. And then I'm like, oh, I'm really tired.
Yeah, it catches up with you.
Yeah, I was up for like over 30 hours yesterday. Like, yeah, it was definitely over 30 hours. I didn't sleep Saturday at all.
See, I fell asleep during the block party Friday. I didn't get up till 3:30 Saturday morning. I got up long enough to go to the bathroom, take my medicine, and went right back to sleep. I slept the entire day of Saturday and part of Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't sleep at all Saturday night, Sunday at all, and I passed out sometime in the beginning of Monday.
Oh, wait a minute. What?
It was definitely after 1 something on Monday when I finally passed out.
What happened here? All of a sudden the chat is back. Yay.
And then I was only asleep for a few hours, and I ended up on Zoom calls all day. And then that one call on the
Well,
phone.
I definitely do not recommend that kind of schedule, but it happens.
Oh yeah, and the worst part was being outside freezing from like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. because I do food rescue stuff, and so I had to pick up the food, but they gave me so much of it that I wasn't expecting, that I had to organize to get my car ready and to be able to deliver the stuff easier. And so that's how long it was taking me. And I had to pee for
Yeah.
90% of that time.
Oh, geez.
And it was freaking freezing. And I was on my feet and I was dying.
Yeah, you just reminded me I've got to go make room in my car because I got to drive my daughter and her boyfriend to work.
Ah,
And I can't do that with the car seats all full of crap.
yeah. I
Oh,
know
and
that.
it's dark and cold outside, so that's going to be fun. Gotta make sure I allow enough time for that.
Yeah. I'm about to go pick up more food right now.
More
Well,
food.
but I'm happy about that because I get to deliver food to people, and it's about to be Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
having ample food to give out is awesome. And I really want to know, like, I get that he wants me to come on Friday morning to debate with Dr. whoever he said. I don't remember
Yeah.
their. That's not me being
Doc-
disrespectful.
Dr. Rao.
Dr. Rao. But I'm like, what I really want to know is, so what's your solution for all of the animals that are already produced? Like, if everybody went vegan and we don't eat animals, what do we do with the surplus of animals that have already been grown for food?
That's easy. We just invite them into our homes.
Because I'm like, it wouldn't be very compassionate to let animals that have no actual ability to live out in the world, and we have no room to have these surplus animals running around. Like, to me, that wouldn't be compassionate either.
Well, the whole world isn't going to go vegan
Yeah, but
all at
the
once anyway,
promotion
that's for sure. Like.
conversation seems to be that everyone go vegan.
No, I mean, like, the whole world isn't going to go vegan all at once, you know what I mean? It's going to take
Yeah.
a long time before that will, you know.
They'll be in.
The world's about to end in a year.
Oh, I know that, but what I'm saying is the mentality takes a long time to go. Once a sufficient number of people start doing it for the common sense that it is, the rest of the sheeple will follow. Then is what I'm saying. So it's still a hard message to get through to people at the moment. You know what I mean? Because they keep hearing vegan and they're turned off by the word vegan, just like people are turned off of the word geoengineering. So they don't want to listen to the various types of geoengineering. They're put off by it because from the very beginning, the only type of geoengineering that they started talking about was spraying sulfuric acid into the stratosphere, which is unpredictable and dangerous. And that was why geoengineering got a bad name. And when people hear the word geoengineering now, they think only of that, and they don't realize that there are other forms of it, like marine cloud brightening and so on, like, and the mirror's reflection. It's the same thing when people hear the word vegan, they automatically think, or they're just trying to force me to do something I don't want to do because they believe in it, and that's because of their ignorance to the whole subject. And I'm talking from someone who's not vegan now at the moment, but is only after starting to learn in the last year of the significance of going plant-based and the hypocrisy of the fucking meat industry in the first place. So I'm learning, but I'm
Mhm.
learning these conversations, and most people aren't even willing to engage in the conversation when they hear the word vegan. They just think somebody's trying to shove their belief down their throat. So I think what it should be approached without using the word vegan, it should be approached through the idea of, uh, you know, healing the planet, and part of it is plant-based. You know, is this one of the most significant. Like Jamin said, it's there in the background, but it'll come to the surface as being the key to it all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't have to mention the word vegan is what I'm saying, because it does turn people away. Just like Jamin said earlier on, collective intelligence is a word that turns people off as well, because they're thinking, oh, I'm not intelligent enough or whatever. And that's true. People pick up on one word and they have associated so much with just one word. And if it's a bad association in their head, they're not going to be willing to sit down and listen and have the conversation. So we
Sure.
should be very careful about the words we choose. So we should kind of use the word vegan a lot less and just stick to the plant-based.
Well, I like plant-based and I'm fine with plant-based. I mean, there's a lot of societies that, meat is a flavoring or a side, like a very small portion, not the majority. And if you're really in alignment with sustainability, you know, most places, sustainably speaking, a meat-based diet isn't really sustainable.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
And
it's right now. The fact is that the meat-based diet that the world is using right now is not sustainable. That's why we're in the trouble we're in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not sustainable, and the industry lies about it left, right, and in front.
Yeah, and it also should be like, to the average person, when you're trying to get them on board, it should be encouraged that you're trying to get them to reduce their consumption of meat, not trying to tell them you can't eat it anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
Because
And then
people don't like to be told that, like, you can't eat that anymore. They don't like
there's
that. That's
there's
defensive.
also, yeah, and there's also the way, it's like Jewel, it's like last year or sometime in 2020, there was somebody here that said, people, if you told people their food was poison, surely they wouldn't eat it. And I'm like, what do you think? For how many years already have we known that almost all our fast food is essentially poisonous for us? It's killing
Exactly.
people, and they eat it anyway. They hear it, they know it's true, but they eat it anyway. So that's not a valid excuse for anything, or a valid way to convince people. What you
Agreed.
it tastes good, so they eat it. So all we have to do is provide plant-based foods that taste really good. You don't have to point out they're plant-based. You just have to say, here's this great tasting new dish or new food I found, and let people fall in love with the flavor, and they'll want to eat it. And it'll be easy for people. If I bought a breakfast sausage, a plant-based breakfast sausage a few weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, I'll try this. And like most of these meat-based, plant-based sausages and meats I've tried, they're I wouldn't eat them. They're just not. They don't taste good. The texture is off, and these sausages, I I double checked and got the box and looked at it, the ingredients again, because I couldn't tell it wasn't a regular breakfast sausage patty. It tastes that good, and the texture is that similar. I think you could fool many people in a blind taste test. They would think that that's a real meat sausage. And
Yeah, I
that,
hear that. And I'm concerned about stuff like that because, like, I don't agree with a lot of our vegetables and fruits and the way we grow this stuff, because a lot of that stuff isn't even real anymore.
How do you mean?
Like the GMOs and everything else.
Oh,
Like,
okay, yeah,
like
GMOs, yeah, that's,
and the monocropping. It's like, I don't want to eat anything that's been tortured. I don't care if it's meat or plant. If it's not sustainably grown and lovingly attended to, it's not real food to me.
yeah, it's pretty safe bet that anything you buy in a regular grocery store it's very unlikely that it was had any loving attention paid to it.
They're all the fruit and veg that's in stores now is genetically modified, and by genetically modified they mean they've interfered with the genes of the seeds so that they grow a certain way, and also so that the farmer can't reproduce the crop next year by harvesting seed. The seeds won't reproduce next year, like it doesn't produce seed. You have to buy the seed every year then. So
It's
they've
and
been
like
marketing the corner.
and like sweet potatoes, yeah, 90% of the sweet potatoes you'll buy in the store, they last pretty well in storage, right? They don't start sprouting and growing. It's because they spray them with something to prevent that, which is just horrible.
Yeah.
You have to eat 10 oranges now to get the same amount of vitamin C out of an orange you would have eaten 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's another thing. My mom's, when she was pregnant with Marcy, my dad always worked. I was driving her to her OBGYN appointments, all her prenatal appointments. And her doctor then, that would have been in 74, told her that any commercially grown produce did not have the same nutritional value that it did 50 years earlier. He said, we've all these things have been grown on the same ground and all the minerals have been extracted out of the ground. You can't produce a vegetable, grow a vegetable in a ground that's devoid of the minerals that it's supposed to have. He said, the nutrition in our vegetables is garbage. And that was in 1974. He knew that.
And then came fertilizers and fucking chemicals to
and then
nutrients.
We've developed worse artificial fertilizers multiple times over since then.
Yep, that's true.
We're a great species of fucking things up, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
really
like my issue is more of like, to me, it's all life. It's all energy. And I hear the conversations around a lot of it, but it's like, you can't live without killing. And to me, killing a plant is no different than killing a person. And I know a lot of people don't get that concept, but I'm like, there's nothing really different between me and a lamppost, because it's all source energy, just expressed in a way that makes me feel like I'm different than the lamppost. But like, life is life. Energy is energy. Everything is transmuted. And so I value everything's life. And I give thanks for anything that gives its life to sustain mine.
But all life in nature, all life is sustained by other life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard other versions of that, people swearing up and down that, in the original idea of the world, we were just sustained by prana, or, just energy and nothing ate anything. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that far into it.
Well, if
Everything has to eat on the planet, like,
Freed-
and therefore all life is connected in through that process as well, like, and it's a way of having a balance in nature as well, like, so that's where the differences come in. We've overpopulated with humans in the sense that we've lost our balance with nature, and we've destroyed the balance with nature, really, like, and lost our way with nature, and you know, we're left wondering then, like, I don't know, big questions like this. You could go on about it forever, no, like, but I believe, like, all life exists off of other life. But if we want, we don't have to exist off of animals. I get that part, like, you know what I mean. So, because we have a choice in it, whereas other life just lives through nature, through its relationships with its environment around it, and how it can survive, whichever the case may be. Whether that's a frog eating flies or whether it's a bird eating a frog, whichever the case may be. So that's just where they are in nature. But we have the choice as the species to not eat animals if we want to. It's a choice because it's only something that's been put into our heads that we have to do. But we have to be able to eat something, is what I'm saying. So kind of have to draw the line with plants then, like, because it's our only other choice, isn't it?
Well, no, there is another choice. Freed has, there's another group he works with where they're claim they're close to having it that you don't need to eat or drink anything, that they sustain themselves from tapping into the energy field.
Prana, like those or breatharians.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. How long do they live?
And honestly, it's something that I used to dream about when I was, in my single digits of age. I dreamt about being able to do that before I had heard anything about it anywhere ever, and then I stopped dreaming about it, and then like decades later, it came up again in conversations, like this one, that there used to be people that could do it, and they were, from other planets, and that they were breeding that ability into us, and that it's going to take a few generations before we're able to do that. So, but I hear you. I hear you, James. It's like I as much as I want it to be, I'm not sure it's going to happen in my lifetime.
Well, like I said, I just think it's in that sense, like, it's a long road that you have to try and convince the whole world to go
Yeah.
plant-based.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to have a longer road trying to do it if you try to say that they need to go vegan, because there's a derision against that word now for some reason. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's another one of those cases of a few, can't think of the right word, a few fanatics making it difficult for everybody else.
Yeah, I was gonna use the word zealot, but yeah, fanatic works too.
we should make a list. We should make a list of those people that we think who should be invited to these interviews. get a head start on that. You know what I mean? Fucking. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'll do it myself tomorrow. In the morning when I wake up, that's what I'll do. For Friday.
Yeah, I'm starting to run out of steam. I've been up for
Yeah, I just had to panic and look for my keys because I'm running late to pick up this food.
yeah,
Happy
I've
I
Life-
found my
I've been
Life
kind of
keeps
going
going.
steady for 13 hours now.
Yeah, tell you, man. You know, you have to get on with things in your life too. Like, you know,
Yeah.
can't sit here all day. That's why we need more people.
That's why I switched to the to my phone so I could stay on the call.
Right.
But then I was like almost out the door and
My
my
problem
keys weren't
is
where I thought they were.
my phone, if I have the Zoom on my phone, it mutes my calls and I miss calls, and I have to keep my phone available right now over the next couple hours for sure.
Yeah, mine doesn't mute calls. Mine, the calls interrupt the Zoom. And that annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah, and I've had other people do that too. Mine, it just doesn't show me the calls, and later on I find out I have missed calls. And there must be some setting to set it differently. I just don't know how.
Yeah, agreed.
Because there are people with iPhones the same model as mine that when they have an incoming call, it disconnects the Zoom.
Oh, goodness. All right. Ooh-ha. Ugh. Oh. It's not giving me the option to pause my phone. I was like, so my apologies. Bad. It's half a mile. Turn left. But yes. So are we still live streaming or did you stop that?
You're right, we are. Let me see. Am I gonna be?
All right, hold on. Let me call these people and let them know that I'm running hella late. And see if that's okay for me.
That's not working. Let's try this button.